Hello guys, and welcome back to our IL-2 Korea Career Mode campaign. We finished the previous episode on April 16 of the war, and the moment we clicked to advance time, an unplanned mission appeared. Friendly transport aircraft needed protection while delivering supplies to our troops. Failing this mission could disrupt our own deliveries and reinforcements. I clicked proceed, but the game would not let us launch. We did not have enough pilots assigned to the standby duty. Because of that, an aircraft delivery was disrupted, or fuel delivered was delayed, and incoming reinforcements were also affected. So we immediately learned something important. Standby pilots are really important. So by failing this mission, we lost incoming supplies, forcing us to spend supply requests replacing that which had been disrupted. I reorganized the squadron and assigned sections 9 and 10 of White Flight to standby duty. I will not let that happen again. With that done, now we were able to advance time. The game wanted to move from April 16 directly to April 23rd. That felt like a very large jump, but I wanted to see what would happen. Our supplies and reinforcements eventually arrived, but Operation Dauntless had ended. By skipping the entire week, we also skipped the remaining missions from that stage of the campaign. So the war does not wait for us. To properly experience a historical operation, we need to advance through the days more carefully instead of jumping directly to the next major event. By April 23, the campaign had moved into a new phase, countering the Chinese Spring Offensive. With this, the map changed and a new group of missions became available. But before joining a sortie personally, I sent the squadron on 2 automated missions. The first was an area patrol. Nothing happened, everyone returned safely, and we earned 7 supply requests. The second one was an attack on enemy artillery. The flight destroyed 1 group vehicle and 1 armored target, earning another 7 requests. We used those resources to order more aircraft, 1 additional pilot, and extra ordnance. But before flying, I also reviewed the pilot files. Randall Kilpatrick had become one of our strongest pilots, with 2 aerial victories and 3 confirmed ground targets. He received both available awards and permission to display the squadron insignia on his aircraft. Luman Liberson had also performed well, with 4 confirmed ground targets. I moved our successful pilots into the active combat flights and reassigned some of the less successful pilots to the emergency standby squadron. You could call it punishment. I prefer performance-based squadron management. So with that done, we finally picked today's first mission, an attack against enemy frontline positions. This is a mission we have not done before, so that's why we picked it. Just exploring new objectives to see how things go. The objective was to destroy hostile forces, defensive installations, and artillery near the front. So we loaded the F-80 with Havar rockets and heavy bombs, then headed towards the area. Once we arrived, I took a moment to look over the battlefield. There were soldiers, machine guns, positions. There were actually soldiers with little machine guns, vehicles, and small defensive installations spread across the terrain. These little details are very easy to miss while flying on a jet to super high altitude. But knowing that these little assets with this much effort are there in the game makes it a little bit more special. I don't know why. This time I waited for the AI to prepare its attack instead of immediately diving alone. Shortly after the squadron began its attack, the F-80s rolled in one after another, dropping bombs across the enemy positions. While I was focused looking at the target, suddenly a MiG-15 passed behind me and opened fire. He missed, but it was a good reminder that even with the AI behaves strangely, ignoring an enemy jet is still a terrible idea. That could have ended Robert's life, and I already have a bad reputation with commanders. So, we are lucky we are alive. Followed with my own bombs and rockets, and within moments the entire area was covered in explosions. After using my ordnance, I started to look around, see if I could spot an opportunity on any of these MiG-15s that came in to stop us. That's when I noticed one of the MiG-15s flying low and slow. So I moved underneath him, close from behind, and opened fire.
Red 2, engaging fighter to the south, range 33-100, now. Red 2, target destroyed.
The MiG was completely destroyed. With the ground target damage and the enemy fighter down, I ordered everybody to go back home. Robert Retka landed normally, which may not sound impressive, but in this campaign, every successful landing deserves a recognition. The mission ended with 1 aircraft, 2 ground vehicles, and 1 armored target and 8 artillery positions destroyed. Nobody from our squadron was lost. That was our 3rd planned mission on April 23rd. The 2 automated operations and the frontline attack had filled the daily task list, revealing that career mode only allows 3 planned missions per combat day. Before advancing to the next day, I requested more fuel and other things. Another unplanned mission appeared. Enemy aircraft were heading towards our airfield to attack our fuel and ammunition stockpiles. This time, our standby pilots were ready. Carlos, Amster, Dursun, and Ripley launched to intercept them, and the objective was complete. 1 pilot was wounded and 1 aircraft damaged, but the airfield was protected. The changes we made on the standby unit had already paid for itself. So we moved to the next day. The next day meaning 27th of April, because the game wanted to move an entire week again, and I felt like it was just too much. I wanted to see and explore what would happen if I deny that and instead go half the week. So from the 23rd we moved to the 27th. I immediately jumped to look for a new mission that we could take on, and I found this mission we have not tried before: attacking an armored column. Now personally, I love strikes on moving targets, especially armored columns. I don't know why. This is something that I've done on every single sim game I have played. DCS, IL-2 Great Battles, and so on, and I just really enjoy it. So we equipped the F-80s with bombs and rockets and launched early in the morning. Once we spotted the column, I noticed something that was very pleasant. The column was much larger than I expected, with tanks, trucks, support vehicles, and defensive units spread along the road. I really got excited, and instead of waiting for my squadron, I did not. The enemy received 2 new craters and absolutely no damage. Fortunately though, the rest of the squadron was much more accurate. And the chaos began. The F-80s formed a long attack line, rolling to their dives, and began dropping their bombs with amazing accuracy. The column was in absolute chaos, at least it looked like it. I was enjoying myself a little bit too much that I even decided to start doing some strafe runs.
Target destroyed.
During this mission, I did got the opportunity to see some of my teammates actually use rockets on enemy targets. That was a nice surprise. And due to my excitement, I ended up dropping some flaps because I was coming down low and slow with the strafe runs, but I wasn't really that slow because my flaps actually got stuck. So I had to fly all the way back home with flaps down, and that made the journey a little bit longer. With that said, after I had my bit of fun, I ended up telling everybody to head back to base. Robert still managed to land safely, which is again another thing to celebrate. The mission was a success, 3 ground vehicles, 3 armored targets, and 2 artillery positions destroyed. Then the loss report appeared. 3 aircraft lost? What? How? 3 pilots killed? I did not saw that at all. So I returned to the replay to find out what happened, and well, at least I managed to discover one thing. One pilot failed to recover from his bombing dive and flew directly into the mountainside. At least that's how I wanna report it. Because from this perspective, it feels more like he just went into the mountain. But this left me curious. I needed to know who exactly died. So I went to check. The first one I checked had over 26 days of service, completed 11 combat flights, and destroyed 5 ground targets. Roque Cabas was another original member of the squadron with 11 combat flights and 2 confirmed ground victories. These were experienced pilots who had flown with us across multiple missions. Now they were gone. This is where the persistent campaign begins to matter. These pilots stopped being random names once they built records, earned awards, and survived several combat dates. Losing them genuinely hurts the squadron. I have a hope or an idea that the longer they survive, maybe the better they will become, because by giving them awards, they get points on their skills. So I want to assume that the more skills, more points they get, the better the performance. I am not sure. I would have to ask the devs. We were forced to continue the day to the next day, the 28th, because our resources page said that that was the day when our requests arrived. But they didn't, so I guess you need to end the day to be able to get those resources. We have learned something new. The squadron had suffered serious losses, but we still had another mission to fly. Our final mission for the day was an attack against an enemy railway junction. Our orders were to attack valuable targets in the area while watching for enemy patrols. So we did. After a short flight, the city appeared ahead. This was our first major attack inside a dense urban area, so I was very excited to see how this experience will go. And it did not disappoint. As soon as we got close to the city, heavy flak bursted around the formation while machine guns and lighter anti-aircraft weapons filled the sky with tracers. It looked epic. This was exactly the atmosphere I'd been hoping to see from career mode. The city felt defended, dangerous, and alive. So we flew around the city looking for targets and valuable things to hit. But this time, instead of me jumping solo, I followed the squadron into the attack, so I formed up in the F-80's line. After flying around and coming back towards the city, you could see the lead F-80 closest to the city, who was about to dive and start engaging, was just getting hit by absolutely everything. It looked amazing and made me get really excited for my turn. I noticed that my squadron was aiming for the enemy defenses first before the objective. But me, I had to make sure the objective was done. So I released my own bombs across the objective. Then did a wide turn to come back in with rockets, and made sure to attack the railway. It was too good to leave right away, so I turned again for a strafing run. I just wanted to shoot randomly towards those traces, because I couldn't really tell what was there. I had to do it again, but this time I did spotted an anti-aircraft truck. The mission felt incredible. As I climbed it away, I noticed one friendly F-80 trailing smoke from its wing. Then I looked to the right and saw another aircraft flying above the city with almost every anti-aircraft gun focused on him. And then it happened. The aircraft caught fire and the pilot bailed out. Moments later, another F-80 began burning in the distance.
Blue 7, I'm on fire, bailing out.
No, perhaps have we overstayed our welcome? I started to feel bad about this because maybe the cost of this attack was becoming too high, so I ordered the squadron to return home. But that's when I saw it. Multiple Migs were chasing members of the squadron, so I turned in after them. I had more energy than them and not the proper angle for my attack, so I had to do a high yo-yo to remain behind the MiG, close the distance and open fire before he destroyed another one of my squad mates. We had already stayed too long, and it was time to leave.
Target destroyed. Red Group return to base. Out.
On our way home, I noticed another friendly airfield nearby next to a big city. I had been curious whether career mode would allow us to complete the mission somewhere other than our home base. So, for the sake of testing, I landed there. The game accepted it, meaning alternate friendly airfields can be used to complete a sortie. That could become extremely useful when flying a damaged aircraft or operating for very far away. Then the mission report showed up. 1 enemy aircraft, 4 ground vehicles, 2 armored targets, 2 artillery positions, and 1 building destroyed. But the losses were severe. 5 aircraft lost, 1 aircraft damaged, 3 pilots killed. 2 additional pilots appeared to be unavailable after bailing out, although they were not listed as dead. Hopefully they will be able to return after several days, because they did seem like they were landing on enemy territory. Before the mission, we had 11 active pilots available for normal operations. Afterwards, only 6 remain immediately usable, not counting the 4 pilots reserved for emergencies. Almost half our duty combat strength disappeared during one attack. We still have reserve pilots, but we do not have enough operational aircraft to immediately replace everything that was lost. Replacement orders will take time. Another emergency could appear before the squadron has recovered. For the first time, the question is no longer simply which mission we should fly next. It is whether the 429th can still field enough aircraft to complete it. Robert Retka survived another combat day and personally destroyed a MiG-15. But we kept returning to the railway for 1 more pass, 1 more target, and 1 more opportunity to do damage. Robert survived that decision, several of his pilots did not. On April 28, his grid may have cost the squadron almost half of his active strength. We will see the full consequences in the next episode. Before I go, I want to genuinely thank everyone who commented on the previous video. At the end of that episode, I was seriously considering pausing the series until career mode and the AI received more development. Instead, more than 40 of you asked me to continue. Some of you are learning how the mode works through these videos, and others simply want to see how far the squadron can survive. I honestly did not expect that level of support. So the series will continue. We will keep following the 429th, testing career mode as it develops, and seeing how far the campaign takes us. Whether we finish the war, lose every aircraft, or run out of commanders first, we are going to find out together. Thank you very much for watching and for supporting this series. Robert Retka survived another episode. Much of his squadron did not. I will see you on the next combat day. Ciao.